Take back control. Stop letting algorithms decide your news. Get uncensored history and real knowledge to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit. Watch ad-free content now at iNeverKnewTV.com Premium.
Why is Afrophobia becoming more visible on social media platforms?
We oftentimes don't want to socialize our children. We oftentimes, because we don't know no better, or sometimes we're resistant to certain political realities. We want to kind of be in escapism. We want to just be foo-foo. We don't really realize we have to socialize with children, because if we don't do it, it's indoctrination the mother get, right? Right, mind mash up, right? So that's the first thing. So how we grow with you, how we grow with them. And the second thing is these platforms are the extensions of the Bakra shit stem, right? Just like the school, just like the book in a school, just like the political shit stem. The whole thing is just, social media is just another expansion of the Bakra shit stem, just in a virtual world. I would say, in fact, social media for people, you know, we would call it millennial, like me, a millennial, I guess. And then you have Gen Z, and then I take the next one is alpha, whatever, however, you classify, is basically what TV was for previous generations.
Steroids, because you see it more. You see it 24/7.
Yeah, it's the sum. What I mean is like it grow out of that. So there's always like media is, it's like Nana Omowale Malcolm X would say, the media is designed, the good people look evil, but the evil people look good. So it's for them platform, right? So these social media platforms are not operate with the interests for serve black people, them there for serve the Bakra and yeah, basically it's for serve Bakra. So you have a socialization issue where our children are being socialized because we still send our pitney to certain institutions where we shouldn't really send them, or yeah, we shouldn't send them to certain institutions. The second thing is, because we don't send them to certain institutions, it makes them more mentally susceptible to the social media thing. So it's how we socialize our children, but also, there's economic factors where, they go to work and all that. So just really building community. The only way to deal with this problem is, in my opinion, we have to really build community. Especially those of you who say we're conscious, we have to really work at how to build community. I know it's hard, it's not easy, it's not easy, Bridget, but that's the only way we're gonna manage. Because if we don't do that, then you're susceptible to social media, because TV was one, social media the next one. Because what I want to make the connection, why I bring up TV and social media, you see in America, the attack on consciousness. You could see it even in so-called black sitcoms. Even one, some of them where we love, if you watch them, some of them we love, some of them we like, because, it's Hollywood, right? Hollywood, right? So they're going to be shown at worst, or at best, I should say, it's going to be from a racial integrationist perspective, because that's where Bakra interests converge with certain black people, right? So that's the way you get the show. So you have to keep that in mind. But in them show, when you really watch them, they really attack consciousness.
Brother with the bean pie, brother quoting scriptures, quoting the Quran.
Right. Yeah, they do that.
Everywhere.
That caricature is so fixated in people's mind. Then later, social media is an extension with the Hotep thing. Where, people is Hoteps and blah, blah, blah. So you really see the progression of that problem. That's part of why I'm going to start with the TV thing, because the children, the pitney them that watch the shows, these black shows, these black culture shows, and let me say something about them. Yes, you can very much tell aesthetically in terms of the expression, some of the situations, these are black shows on that aesthetic level, but politically, they're very accommodating to Bakra interests. So on a political level. So when they do show conscious, like I have no problem if, you see different perspectives of black people, even if I think those perspectives have to go away sometime, if it run out sometime. But it's accurate for this particular time period, but it's how they're presented. So you can tell it's presented in a derogatory way, like I'm actually working on a thing right now where I used to teach a media class. In one institution where I did teach, it's like a mass media class, but how me approach the class, me teach it as media propaganda. That's how me teach it. And I tell the students them about sitcoms, how they're supposed to make you think about being Afrikan is negative and this and that. And then anybody who has any kind of consciousness to critique the system, they're extreme. them radical, them create. There's some type of intellectual deficiency, or they're not practical, but they never question integration, right? So you go from Fresh Prince now, or the Cosby Show, Fresh Prince, to you go to like shows that are very gimmicky, that they mock black people, to then presenting respectable black people, meaning black people who can fit into the buck or shit stem. That's really what it is in those sitcoms. So that's promoted. So like one episode, I'll think about Fresh Prince, since we're in Philly, so we have to deal with the Fresh Prince. So with Will Smith, very Hollywood, right? There's one episode where there's a brother, him supposed to be conscious, and they were critical of Carlton. Because those who know the show, Carlton is sort of supposed to be socially awkward. He's like a black Republican kid. He's like what you would never think of as black, and it seemed like him really lived that way. Like he might be consistent with the character might be consistent with the real person in this case. But like I said, no, Alfonso Ribeiro is the real name, but Carlton, the character, right? So one virgin just tell him, say, yo man, you're going like a right? They're going like the white people there, right? But in the show, they make it seem like that critique is stupid. So they make the guy, he basically says like, you have a butler, you're doing all you like classical music, like basically the bad is just valorizing everything European. But the way the show set up, you're supposed to think the man who have the criticism is irrational, or is mad and sick and mad, or something wrong with him, and that he's judgmental or superficial, right? So then they have a scene where he confronts him and he makes a good argument. He says, you have a butler, so that means you obviously, you live a certain way. You embrace European music stuff. And Carlton is like, well, it doesn't matter if I do this. I'm still black because, I'm black. It's just this definitionless. There's no substance. It's just because. And then the audience clap for Carlton's stupidness. But the clapping signifies the perspective, right? It's told from an integrationist perspective or assimilationist. Integrationists and assimilationists might both converge on that perspective. So that type of programming, our children, we already grew up with people like in my age group. Let me say, me, I'm millennial, right? In my age group, them deal with that. So social media is just the next stage of that, because you see those sketches that do the same thing. So it just expands. That's what I mean when I say the TV to social media. We have to look at media as a whole, and we have to really say who control the media, who manage the media that we consume. That's how we have to think about it, because it's really a buck or shit stem media.